Hey examinees, welcome to another past paper walkthrough. This is question 12 from Edexcel IGCSE Accounting June 2021 paper 1. The question would fall under other receivable and payable topic of our accounting syllabus. Let's dive in. The question requires examinees to prepare rent account. To make the account, we need some figures ready for which we shall follow some steps. In step 1, we figure out whether the account in question is expense or income. We are asked to make rent account and the question mentioned words like owed and paid. So there's your clue that the rent account in the question is an expense because rent can be income as well. Knowing whether the account is an expense or an income is a key point in such questions because the subsequent entries in the question will depend on this. Let's go to step 2, where we note down the accounting year. The purpose of knowing the accounting year is to know exactly for which months you should prepare the account for, and knowing that helps to figure out whether there was any owing or prepayments in the beginning or end of the year. Our year end, if this question is 31st March 2021, so beginning of the year is 1st April 2020. The accounting year is therefore from 1st April 2020 to 31st March 2021. In step 3, we need to know the opening and closing balance. To do step 3, we use some rules. I have briefly explained these rules in my previous videos, so you can check them out. We begin with opening balance. We check what was happening in the question on 1st April 2020. On 1st April 2020, rent for 2 months of 500 were owed. So according to the rules, expenses is an other payable, so the 500 is a credit entry. In the same step, we shall look at the closing balance, which means what happened on 31st March 2021. We can see that there is no information in the question that would give us a clue about the closing balance. The question doesn't mention anything about owing or paid in advance at the year end, nor does it say anything about how many months paid, so we could know if any of those fell in the next year. We can't find the closing balance right now at this point in the question, so we move to step 4. We look for any payments or receipts. The question clearly mentions that during the year ended 31st March 2021, he paid total rent of $3,750 by bank transfer. The double entry for this is bank credit and expenses debit. The logic is that bank goes down if there is a payment, so bank as an asset goes down, so it is credit. Therefore, the expenses account is debited by the amount $3,750. Since the question doesn't have a closing balance until now, we need to do another step where we find out the income statement. An account like rent account needs to have income statement because we need to know the amount that goes to income statement. Income statement is basically the rent for 12 months. To know the rent for 12 months, we need to know the rent for 1 month. The question has given the rent for 2 months, which is 500. Therefore, rent for 1 month would be 500 divided by 2, which is 250. Therefore, the rent for 12 months would be 12 into 250, 3,000. What about the double entry? To understand this, you need to look at income statement as an account rather than a statement. Basically, income statement is an account where we put our income and expenses. If anything leads to decrease in profit, then we debit this account. As rent is an expense, it will decrease the profit, so income statement is debited. The expenses account is therefore credited by 3,000. Now we can make the rent account. We start with the opening balance. The balance BD on credit side is 500. There is no closing balance, so we cannot post this yet as we did in the previous videos. Then we have bank in step 4. We have a payment of 3,750. As already discussed, the rent account would be debited by this amount. So we debit the account by 3,750. In step 5, we discussed that income statement is 3,000 and the rent account would be credited by this amount. So post 3,000 on credit side with income statement as the detail. Now check the total on both sides. We have 3,500 on credit side while 3,750 on the debit side. So we put the higher side total on both sides and then use the 3,750 to find the difference on the lower side. We get 250, which is our closing balance. Therefore, we bring it down as balance BD. Now put the dates. Balance BD is beginning of the year, which is 1st April 2020. Then income statement is year end on 31st March 2021. The date on bank is year end as well, as no specific date is given. Then balance CD is year end date 31st March 2021. The balance B at the bottom is beginning of next year, so 1st April 2021. So that's the end of the question. I'm going to give you a tip here. Try to keep a picture of how the account should look like because then the workings you're supposed to do to arrive at the figures become easy for you. I hope the explanation helped you understand it better. If it did, feel free to give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for more IGCSE accounting content.